the question of how much interference in Canada's democracy is taking place due to hostile actions by foreign governments, and what to make of what is being reported in some quarters, but I don't think it is a contradiction, between what Mr. Singh thought when he read the report and what I thought when I read the report. We need to be very careful as people in political life that in handling allegations of foreign interference, we put Canada first always and recognize that those who'd like to undermine our democracy would take great pleasure in seeing us chase our tails and keep trying to find names and look for, use the word traitors loosely. I will not do that, but I do appreciate very much the clarification from Mr. Singh's office, which I don't think got as much attention as kind of what I think may have been a misinterpretation of his comments. But this is from a CBC story. A party spokesperson later said that Singh's comments should not be taken as confirming or denying that any parliamentarians cited in the report are currently serving. And that's where I think when you look at what each of us has said about the report, we haven't said different things. Our feeling of if I'm relieved and he's more upset, that's a subjective question. How was he feeling before he read the report? I was plenty alarmed before I got to read the full report. And the greater context that it provided and the information contained within it was really helpful to me. And I don't change anything I already said, so I won't repeat it.
And in your remarks just now that you think sort of the people who are attempting foreign interference would love to see you chasing your... Isn't that what's happening? Aren't they actually succeeding in what they were trying to do?
I hope not. I hope that by returning to the question of, because the appearance was being created through the lack of detail, and I have to say I have nothing, I'm going to repeat it again, the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians have done an extraordinary job. They went through 33,000 pages of intelligence information and produced a report to which members of Parliament from the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, the Bloc Québécois, the NDP, and independent senators could all agree. And they made it very clear that there's a real threat of foreign interference in our democracy.
I want your view, because you've read the unredacted report. This is a quote from him. There are a number of MPs who have knowingly provided help to foreign governments, some to the detriment of Canada and Canadians. Do you agree with that statement based on what you have read?
As long as one accepts the correction or clarification from his office that he's speaking of past and not current, then both of our interpretations can stand together without being contradictions.
So the issue with his remarks, I'm just trying to find where the daylight is here. Is it just on the traitor comment? Like, what are your specific differences between that?
What you just read as an interpretation is not something with which I would disagree, as long as we're not solely focused on current MPs. It's a subjective question. I was, as I've described it, I think I used the words plenty freaked out at the idea that I could be serving in a chamber with people I know across party lines, that any one of them would be prepared to sell out their country to a foreign government. So that's where I was. I was up here. And I read the report. I was really relieved. I don't know if Mr. Singh was really alarmed or became more alarmed. I'm not going to say for one moment, I'm not going to contradict his emotions. How could I? He experienced what he experienced. I experienced what I experienced. The key question is, on reading the report, did we see different things? I don't think so, not from what he said publicly. This is why I will be firmly clear again in saying that I read the full unredacted report. The word treason does not apply to any current sitting MP, at least in the unredacted report of the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians. And they went through 33,000 pages of intelligence information to come to that conclusion. Canadians can have confidence, as I said, at most a few of our colleagues currently serving are potentially compromised by foreign interference. But there's no information of which I'm aware that suggests what occurred in the one instance, which I still think should be investigated, and that name should be known, and there might be, unless that intelligence information was false, and we always work in our system of justice, it's very important to maintain the presumption of innocence.